Hello and welcome to Spurs Israel. I'm Rafi. With me is Boaz, my sidekick.
Ooh,
And we have
back in the team sheet.
yeah, and we have two special guests, Ben and Sim from WeAreTottenham TV. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us. It's great to be
Cheers.
here. It's great to be here. Great to be back in Israel. We were with you guys a couple of years back for the Roma game. And yeah, it's great to be back.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. It's been 4 years, I think. 4 years.
2 years.
Two?
Since,
Three.
since
Oh,
the
wow.
game in Haifa? 2
Yeah.
years.
Wow, it was a long 2 years now.
Yeah.
Was a roller
A lot has
coaster.
happened. A lot has happened in 2 years.
For us, this last year is like 2 years. So
Yeah.
okay. But we had a Conte football style, and now we have Ange, so it's completely different.
Exactly. From one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure if everybody knows you, but you're doing daily shows, a lot of Tottenham content, and we just wanted to know and to let our listeners know, how did it start?
Well, Ben originally had the idea, kind of, because he saw that, fan channels were kind of becoming a thing on YouTube. There was a fan channel back in the day, probably you guys don't remember it, called Spurred On. It was like, it had been going for like 1 or 2 years, but we didn't really feel like they represented like proper match-going Tottenham fans. And we always, like, me and Ben, ever since we grew up, we've been chatting Tottenham, like, for literally, since we both got into football. He got into football a lot earlier than I did. I got into football maybe I was like 11 years old. Ben was into football probably when he's...
I think I forced football into him. I got him in the garden and I was just shooting balls in the goal.
And I just,
They're the same age.
I'm 3 years younger, so I'm 32. Ben's 30, 35.
Big rock.
There you go. And yeah, we've always just, that's what we've, basically our whole relationship has been talking about Tottenham. And when we saw Spurred On kind of stopped making content and there wasn't really a Spurs fan channel that represented fans, we just thought, like, we never really think, oh, let's make a business, but we thought, let's just put our opinions on camera. We talk Tottenham all the time. Why not just record it, see if people like it, see if people appreciate our point of view? And that's just how it started. And it just kind of snowballed from there, really. Like, from the first video, we saw there's a real hunger for this and there's a real appetite to have these kind of opinions. And yeah, it's been a crazy journey. We started it April 2017.
Wow.
So we started about 7 years ago now. And it's taken us some crazy places and it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
7 years.
Amazing.
So basically,
David
just
is
taken
the only
our...
one
Still there.
longer than you.
Sonny?
Oh, yeah.
Sonny and Ben Davis, that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, they go together.
Exactly.
We basically just taken our conversations from the bedroom onto screen. That's basically what it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, that's
Every
great.
fan's trip.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And you're coming from a Tottenham family? Your parents?
Yeah, my dad. I mean, I wouldn't be a Tottenham fan if it wasn't for my dad. My dad ingrained it in me from a young age. My grandpa, who you might have seen on the videos that comes with us, it's a funny story about my grandpa because he wasn't actually a Tottenham fan growing up. He's a Tottenham fan because he wanted something to do with us.
Oh,
And
really?
because we were going to Tottenham a lot, he was like, I'm going to be the biggest Spurs fan now. And now he's a massive Spurs fan. And he's at the game today.
Oh, really?
Without us.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So it's amazing. Usually
the other way
for
around.
us, for Israeli, most of the Israeli fans are fans because of their parents or stuff like this. But
well, it is because of my
This is,
dad. My dad started it all.
Yeah.
And then my grandpa kind of followed all of us.
yeah,
It's
great.
funny-
Still angry at him.
It was a funny story with my dad. So my dad's dad, my grandpa, my dad's side, he didn't like football. So when my dad was growing up, he wanted, like, he went to school, all his friends liked football and he wanted to get into it. So he went to his my uncle, his younger brother Alan. He's like, all right, we're gonna start liking football now. Let's pick teams. And he's like, shall we choose Arsenal or Spurs? And so Alan's like, let's choose Arsenal. He goes, all right, you choose Arsenal, I'm choosing Spurs.
Oh.
And then this rivalry began. And now half my uncles support Arsenal and half support Spurs. There's a split. I've got 6 uncles on my dad's side. My dad's one of 7. 5 uncles.
Yeah.
5 uncles. 5 uncles. My dad's one of 7.
Yeah.
And I think it's
2 Arsenal, and
2
3
Arsenal,
Spurs.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Weddings must be interesting.
Yeah.
Whenever the North London derby comes round, it's very
Yeah,
interesting
that's
at that
right.
table. I tell you that.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in like 5-10 years? The show, you think about continuing it, going, I don't know how we can top daily show, but there is any thoughts about it?
We just want to keep growing it. The main thing is the audience, connecting with the audience. So we just want to keep growing it, evolve into maybe bigger and better studios, and just keep evolving it as a business. So we do live shows on YouTube, and we have a Korean channel as well, which is obviously highly centered around Son Heung-min. So we just want to keep adding different shows, different aspects, keep upping the production value as well, and just keep it moving forward.
And I think we want to connect. I think we also, want to connect with a lot more Spurs fans around the world. We've seen how strong the following is, like globally, which has been amazing. We just went to Korea for the preseason tour, and the support out there was honestly mind blowing. And I think doing more with fans from abroad and guys like yourselves as well definitely means a lot to us. And maybe down the line, grow it as a proper media company. Maybe source our own news, get journalists, hire journalists and stuff like that. Maybe down the line, that's something we can look into. So we're not just reacting to news, we're breaking news ourselves, stuff like that. So that's, I think, the long-term goal.
Yeah. So if anyone's got any inside information, I don't know.
Mano is coming soon.
Mano.
Invited him.
The medical.
Ask him all about the
We'll ask him.
Yeah.
Exactly. His
Apparently-
medical here in Israel.
Exactly. His Leeds medical is round the back over
Yeah.
here, right?
Okay, amazing. We just hope you can continue and grow, and
Thank you.
we just love.
One day, buy the club.
Yeah.
Buy it off Levy.
One day.
Yeah, we hope so.
You
If
have a
there's-
minority stake,
Yeah, that's your.
Okay, we'll get it there.
You have the Qatarish look. You said you're doing it daily, but this is also your daily job.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's our full-time job.
Yeah.
It's our full-time job.
Wow.
For how
So
long?
the-
3 years?
I've been full-time on this since February 21. Ben was full-time a bit before that, like getting all started. Before that, I was an accountant. Studied accountancy.
So you can replace Levy.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, I gave up because I hated it. I think Levy has a real passion for accountancy.
Yeah.
I have the same passion. And yeah, so it was just one of those things where I was doing that job, but I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't my real passion. It wasn't what I wanted to, be doing every day. And and then the channel just got to a stage where I could quit the job, and that's what I did.
Yeah, my dad could inflict Spurs on him, but not accountancy. Accountancy was a stretch too far.
My dad used to say when I was younger, when I should have been studying, for exams, I used to be watching Tottenham all the time. He used to say, like, why are you watching football the time? You can't make a career out of watching football.
That's amazing. I think it's the dream.
It's what stuck with me a bit.
Okay. You have anything else before we go to this season and
Let's get dirty.
yeah, 30? Okay. Where do you want to start? Dirty for you, it's Romero.
What do you think about Romero?
I
You
love
like him?
Romero. I love Romero. I predicted him this season to be my player of the season for Spurs
Really?
this season. I think last season he should have got it, in my opinion. I think he was brilliant throughout. He's a leading presence at the back. Yeah, I know he made that mistake defensively against Leicester, but I think more or less 95% of the time he wears his heart on his sleeve, front foot defending, aggressive, and he's really towing the line now between being too over aggressive, not picking up too many bookings, not giving away too many fouls now. So I think you're seeing him mature as a player as well. And I love Kuti, and I think he's our best defender by far. In my
Really?
opinion. Yeah.
Better than Mickey?
Better than Mickey, in my opinion.
Oh, I disagree.
But I think Mickey's got attribute. I think they complement each other very well.
Mm.
They do.
They complement each other very
Romero
well. but I
makes the
think-
mistakes and
but a defender in the system is bound to make mistakes with how high we play and how the attacking intent and shows. So I think mistakes will happen from any centre back that comes in.
I think as much as you need a defender like Mickey who can always mop up in behind because we're playing such a high line, teams are always going to try and catch us over the top. But you also need a defender like Romero who's going to get in front of attackers, be really proactive and try and win the ball early, just set you up on attacks. That's also just as important. And I think people see the stuff Mickey van der Ven does is a bit more obvious because when a ball goes over the top and then he's using his unbelievable pace to run after the ball and sweep up after mistakes and whatever, that people can really appreciate that. But when Romero's in the middle of the park winning a tackle off a striker and setting Tottenham on attacks, it's a lot harder to maybe appreciate, I feel, and I think it's just as important in my opinion.
I agree with that. My only criticism, or my main criticism, is that I always feel like when he's wearing his national shirt, he gives in a bit more, you know, he puts in a proper shift. And with us, sometimes I feel he's a bit lazy-ish, you know,
You feel that?
slow to come back, maybe moving the ball a bit slowly.
That's one criticism I maybe have with him, that he doesn't move the ball quickly
Yeah,
enough.
I feel
That's-
like
that's
it slows
definitely a
down the
criticism
game,
for
and
Ronaldo.
handball is all about speed and move the ball quickly,
100%.
give and take, and
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think he needs to get better in some aspects, but I don't think that takes away from what a quality player he is and what quality service he's given to Spurs so far. I think, like I said, he should have been our player of the year last year, in my opinion. And when he does play for
who
Argentina,
got it last year?
Van de Ven.
Okay.
Look,
You rest your case.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of Spurs fans that feel the same way, that he puts in a bigger shift for Argentina than he does for Spurs. But look, these Argentinians are very patriotic, and it's hard to, you know, this is just a job for him coming to Tottenham, and it will be the same for him at any other club. Maybe if he was English, it would be something different, but I still think he gives his all for Tottenham
I
Hotspur.
also think Argentina play a bit of a different way to
They're more
Spurs.
slower.
They're slower, they're more compact as well. We're so open defensively, and I think it definitely leaves him exposed. And I think he does a good job with that. I think obviously with the system we play in, he's got a lot to do all the time, especially when we're under the cosh. I feel like Argentina, they help out their fellow defenders a lot more. The midfielders track back a lot more. At Spurs, his gung-ho style, maybe looks like he's not trying as hard, but I feel like he's just not as well protected as he is with Argentina.
Nowhere near.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, they're close packed. They're Argentinians.
I feel like the system as well that we have just makes our defenders look worse than they actually are, because when you look at the back foot with Doggy, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, they're all top
Great.
quality players. Top
Great
quality
back
players.
four,
Yeah.
But then you see defensive mistakes week in, week out.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the quality of players the issue. It's the system sometimes that could be the issue.
So is that criticism?
It's not a criticism of Ange, because I feel like this is only the second season. You look at Arsenal, for example, you saw a lot of flaws in Arteta's system the first 2-3 years, 2 years in a row. They need time to implement it. It's not just going to happen overnight.
So I think Ange Ball will take us
I
to
think
the next
so.
level.
I
Yeah.
believe in it big time.
I love the way we play. I think we play unbelievable football. I am slightly worried about how we set up defensively, and the mistakes I'm seeing, you know, early on this season and a bit in pre-season. They were mistakes that I saw at the beginning of last season, and they're still there. Like they haven't really been worked on, it seems, or they haven't been improved. So that is a bit of a worry for me. I'm of the opinion that I'm very much in the camp. Like I love the way he plays football, and I love the chances we create. And if we win every game 4-3, I don't really care how many goals we concede.
Yeah.
I'm all for just going gung ho and going for it. But I'm a bit worried that if we can't get the attack right and we're not scoring enough goals and we keep conceding these silly goals, people are going to start to question him. I'm worried about that.
I
But
think
Yeah.
people are already questioning it.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a bit of a
exactly.
concern.
I mean, we're conceding the 3, but
That's
we're not scoring
score-
the 4.
that's the problem.
But, it's
But
still
maybe
early
that takes
days.
time.
It's early days. Like people need to realize that we're still bang in the middle of a rebuild process. Like I don't think we're going to be where we want to be until next season, probably.
So, but I don't know if people complain, like I've been complaining about us conceding silly goals and stuff like that. But I'm starting to question whether that's ever going to stop. And is the plan just to score like 3 or 4 a game and not really care about conceding these silly goals?
Yeah.
Or are we going to stop conceding these silly goals? I'm not 100% sure at this point,
Yeah.
which I don't mind. But as long as we're scoring, I don't really care if we concede. As Anne said, he doesn't help him sleep at night to keep clean sheets. I think that's what we said, something like that.
I think we saw like in the beginning of last season that we managed to score these goals. Every time we had the second goal syndrome, that we couldn't get it like also on Monday. So when we can crack it and we will manage to score the second and third, it will be very easy.
Think about since Ange took over, how many times have we taken a 2-goal lead and given it up? I can't remember too many times we've ever done that. Have we ever given up a 2-goal lead under Ange?
Well, the question is, how many games have we won by
That's
more
the
than one
problem.
goal?
That's the problem. You actually look at last season. I think it was only in 6 or 7 games we scored more than 2 goals.
Yeah.
And under Ange system, it's not good enough because of the chances we concede, we need to score a lot more. But that's only in his first year. In his second year, obviously, given the Leicester game, that's the first game of the season, the same problems, but it's
Yeah.
only game one. Hopefully that issue will start to improve and will start scoring lots of goals. And that's how he's always won titles at his other, it's a goal.
People need to realize how much in a bad way we were when Ange took over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, we were going from Conte, Udo, all this stuff. Harry Kane just leaving as well on the eve of the season. Things aren't going to click straight away. And I think he did incredibly well to what he did last season. Yes, we started off on fire and, you know, and downhill after that. But for us to finish fifth, where, you know, we could have easily finished fourth last season if we wouldn't just won that last game of the season. One more win would have got us into fourth. I think Ange has done a top job so far at this football club. And I feel like he gets a bit of a bad rap because people's expectations are a bit too high for Spurs right now.
Well,
I think-
because the way we started.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
this is,
Right.
it was.
The victim of his own start.
Exactly,
basically.
exactly. The
And
first
also
10 games, it was, we were on the top of the world.
Yeah.
And also,
Everybody.
everyone's just so desperate for a trophy. Like the first sign of seeing things slip, they lose their minds. Oh, we're not going to win a trophy again. It's not going to be another year.
So
And that's it.
what's missing? Is it more rebuild like Solanke and more players, or do you think it's just embedding the system better within the team?
Both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the squad isn't there just yet. I still think we need more cover in defence, a left centre back, a left back. Someone basically to replace Ben Davis, because I think Ben Davis is probably past his shelf day by now.
It's Ben Davis.
Ben Davis fanboy.
Sorry to the fanboy in the front over there. I feel like we probably would need a monster six to come in, someone that can, you know, really patrol the middle of the park and make it really hard for teams to counterattack
Like
on
who?
us.
If I make life hard.
I don't know who exactly, but someone Rodri-esque, Declan Rice-esque. We need some. I know it's going to be very hard to get
Yeah.
someone like that, but you need someone of that mold.
Need to spare 100 million down the
Yeah.
couch.
Well, that's what we need to do. We need to spend that kind of money on a midfielder.
The problem is you've seen right now in that market for that kind of player is very bad at the moment. It's not many. You look at Liverpool, they had tried for Zubimendi and they failed, and then they said, we're not going to go for anyone else because there's no one else really out there who we need. It's a very tough market to go in.
It's always
So
been.
if we're relying on that to sign a player like that to win things, we might find it difficult. I
I still
feel.
think we could win like a random Carabao FA Cup without
Yeah,
that. But
no,
I think
yeah.
to really challenge
Europa League as well. I think.
and Europa League, but to really challenge year in, year out, like Arsenal are doing now, like Man City are doing, we need one of those players, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Could be,
Right,
but he's still
yeah.
18. He's 18 years old, so it's still, you know, very early
And
days.
also being excited about Bentenko. I think, you know, last couple of appearances has been really good. I'm excited about what he can do in the role. Maybe he can surprise a few people.
Yeah, it needs to be healthy.
Huh?
And-
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
a
not
big
to
concern.
play at Leicester, because every time he plays Leicester, he gets injured. So
100%.
I was sort of thinking that when we signed Bissouma could be that guy.
I think everybody saw.
I've lost trust in Bissouma.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's,
Zuma lost trust in Bissouma.
yeah.
Because
It's true.
taking helping on whatever, but he's on the sheet today.
Yeah, he's
He
playing.
started.
He is.
I think he's. I actually
what
think
we
he's going to
just-
have a very good game today.
He has what to prove.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Hopefully, we can see.
maybe this moment in time of Bissouma, you know, I got a notification on my phone the night before the Bayern Munich game. Bissouma's gone live at 2 a.m. I'm like, why are you going live at 2 a.m. on the night before a game? The laughing gas and all this kind of stuff. Maybe this could be the making of him if he really turns it around now.
If not, he will find himself in another team, probably.
exactly.
Ange will not tolerate this.
It's his last chance now, in my opinion.
Hopefully, he will do something this game or in the coming future.
So what we going Bissouma on the score sheet today?
Yeah.
Hat trick.
What's your expectation this year
I
from?
I think for us, I think just try and consolidate ourselves in the top four. Try and push closer to that top three. Even maybe challenge Liverpool a bit with third. I'm not expecting to challenge Arsenal City. I'm looking at every other team and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking we could be just as good as them potentially in terms of what we have and where we are in our project and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be mad if it's third or fourth, but one of those positions. And then I think a real good crack at Europa League. I think we should really be going deep in that competition, and we've got a serious chance of winning it. There's no Champions League dropouts this year. A chance to get another European trophy through the door. I think my expectation is to at least, you know, going to the real like semi-final, final of Europa League and giving a good go. And I would hope one of the domestic cups, FA Cup or Carabao, we can also have a good crack at winning. But you know, just one trophy and being in the top four, that's got to be the aim.
Yeah.
If we miss out on the trophy, we still get top four. It'll be disappointing, but I can live with that. But I think just showing improvement, showing progression, and showing that we can actually get closer to Arsenal and City to show that this way of playing can actually, you know, challenge them. That's got to be on the agenda.
And you know, winning the Europa League and sticking it to Arsenal, who just can't seem to get a European trophy.
Yeah.
Love and money would be great. So I think top four and a crack at the trophy would be a really good season for us.
Is that how is Ange in the knockout tournaments? Does he have a good record?
I think he's got good records in terms of like the Japan League and the Scottish League and stuff. But obviously last year for Spurs, second round in the Carabao
that
was
was
awful.
shit show.
I think in the Scottish Cup he won on the second season,
Yeah.
but in Europe he knocked out in the qualifying.
You know what though? No, they got to the group stages. They played Real Madrid in the group stage.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
that's right.
Okay, on the first season.
They played really well against Real Madrid. They had chance after chance after chance. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net.
It's a syndrome.
But you know, what do you expect with Celtic? You know, they're nowhere near favourites to win the group or to qualify from the group. So
yeah, he doesn't have much experience in European football, so it'll be a bit new to him in a weird way.
Yeah, but we had coaches that had lack of experience and they didn't have, so maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Well, Conte was terrible in Europe.
Yeah.
But Mourinho had a brilliant record, but then he got knocked out to a manager in prison. Remember?
he also
Yeah,
got sacked a few days before the cup final as well.
Yeah.
So
But Mason's record.
Yeah.
Knockouts.
Yeah.
one game, one loss.
I was saying this to Sim the other day. Like, if you look at our squad now, it actually is quite a good squad for a Conte system. When you're looking at the three defenders that we have now that can play at the
With
back,
Dragoš.
so, yeah, two wing backs, solid midfield potentially, and the attackers as well. Get Son a bit more central, so he gets in those areas where he can shoot.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad
I
for a
wouldn't-
Conte
I wouldn't
system.
Take him back.
No,
but-
neither would I. But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it's just strange how.
It's like trying to watch the team.
Yeah,
You had Eric Dyer, that would be the third
yeah.
center back. And we had this sort of back
Totally,
three,
yeah.
Danny Rose and Kyle Walker on the wings. And teams were shaking.
They were shaking. We had the best defensive record in the league at that.
Yeah.
Can I get your perspective, actually, guys, on the whole, you know, on Manor Solomon, you know, looking to leave? Because obviously there's a lot of excitement, I'm sure, in Israel when he signed. And see, you know, free signing. He looked like, you know, he had a good time at Fulham. He was probably going to have like a good time at Tottenham. Everyone was excited. Obviously, the injury was hard to take, and now it looks like he's going to be loaned out. Is there like obviously it's disappointing, but do you feel like we should keep him and like just allow him to rebuild, or do you think a loan deal is the best thing to rebuild himself?
I think at this point of his career, he's not capable to play in Tottenham because
Do you think so?
because he didn't play a full season for like 3 years. I think
A lot of
he didn't
injuries.
play also in Fulham, in Tottenham, and before in Shakhtar
as well.
also. Yeah, because there was the war and they stopped playing and everything. So we didn't see him play for a year. He has to get more minutes and get it regularly. I'm not sure how we can do it in the championship with the 46 games that everybody's going to your ankles and going to tackles and everything. It will be tough for him, but he must get the minutes in order to come back to Spurs next season, and or maybe if something will happen in January. But at this time, even though I don't really rate Werner, he can't. He's not in the same level now because you can't count on him to play every week.
Do you feel like maybe next season, though, if let's say Werner continues to be as bad as he is, and we don't want to keep him, you know, if Solomon can show in the championship he's back to his best, then there'll be a slot for him.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he did have a bright start. He had 2 assists, I think.
Against
Against
Burnley.
Burnley.
That game he was
For
brilliant.
it, yeah. And I mean, even though here, like, obviously we support him because he's also Israeli, We tried to bring him on the podcast, but we never heard back from him. So
No,
yeah, there's a bit of beef there. But yeah, I think that Prime Mano can lead Werner to the team sheet. And
I
I
agree.
really hope for him that he makes it, even if not with us, then in another team, because he's a great talent. He's a generational talent. And here in Israel, when we have our national team not qualifying to a big tournament in like 50 years, so it has a bit of an additional meaning to us. So we kind of wish him the best, and we want him to also be the best at Spurs. But we understand the lone wolf because he has to get the minutes. He has to see
That's the thing.
Do you feel like he maybe should have taken the option to go to Spain in a bit of a less more physical league, and so he can?
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
sure.
Yeah.
It will be like Brian Hill,
Yeah.
from my point of view.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Another season long, yeah.
Really,
Doesn't
it's-
help. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you get a good tan, but that's about it.
There's a guy in our WhatsApp group, Amir, who used to live in Israel. Now he lives in England. He keeps going on about Oscar Gluck. saying
Yeah,
Spurs need to sign him. Spurs need to sign him. I've
It's-
seen him play a couple of times for Salzburg, and he looks brilliant.
it's amazing.
Stand in line. I mean, they say all the biggest European giants are after.
I'm not sure we can afford
He
him.
said that about Guy Asselin as well. Though.
It was the Israeli Messi.
Exactly. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
When he
But-
played, he was at Barca for a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gloch is amazing. I'm sure it will be connected to Spurs because every Israeli player some
There's always
connections.
Israeli made media likes to always push Israeli names.
Yeah.
Is he as good though as like people are saying? Like, is he gonna be like?
Yeah, I think
But he's very good, Gloch.
very young.
Yeah.
He's very
Is
young
he
and very
20 yet?
promising.
He's still
Yeah, something
he's
like
doing-
this.
He's doing good numbers in Austria. So
and everyone they have a great recruitment Salzburg, and everyone who goes there
Right.
usually goes on to somewhere
because
with
you
a lot
see,
bigger.
I mean, Werner, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
right? He played there.
But we
But I
played
think,
Leipzig.
but I think also
Soboslai.
Played there.
Haaland,
Sobos, yeah, Alan
Haaland, yeah,
Soboslai
Haaland.
from Liverpool
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, Huang,
He's gonna-
Mane, like
it's a good
Yeah.
pass.
talent.
It's a good pass to be on.
Yeah.
And
It's a smart move from him to go there. Very smart move from him.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. We'll go back to YouTube, to your experience, if it's okay. Just we saw you on the TV against Leicester.
Yeah,
Defense.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. So just wanted to know what's your best away game experience? Both of you.
I've got so many.
Yeah,
man,
I know.
so many, so
I'm
many.
sure.
But I think the one I'm going to say is probably going to be a bit obvious to you. Is going to be Ajax.
Oh,
Ajax when we obviously Lucas Moura's hat trick. Like
Yeah.
to be completely down and out and thinking there is no hope in this game to suddenly a goal, another goal, another goal. I mean, I've had so many good away experiences, but I don't think anything's ever going to top that. Like,
Yeah.
how can you top getting to the Champions League final with a Lucas Moura hat trick?
Yeah.
It's like absolutely insane. And obviously, I was with Sim there, and Sim's voice, I don't know if you've seen the vlog, just gets higher and higher as the game goes on. So, yeah, it was unbelievable.
in the Amsterdam Arena, the way end was like high up.
Yeah.
right?
Very high, yeah.
Do you have any away day experience that you were on the pitch, like limbs were? I think
Man City,
which
the
one
round
was-
before, we were low down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're right near the front.
We were right,
some
yeah.
players coming in?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Lorente came right where we were, and we
Oh.
were like streamed to the front. Another one where we've been really close, low down was when we beat West Ham 4-3 when Paul
Oh,
Salzburg.
Salzburg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my
Wow.
earliest, like, really good away day memories. That one.
But you remember we were right.
Yeah, I think we rushed down. Like, we saw we were have to get down there. And when Stalteri scored, we were like, oh, right on the front row. We were just absolutely going crazy. That was one of the craziest games I've ever been to. I was quite young back then, maybe 14, but I think that was one of my earliest, like, really amazing away day experiences for sure.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
Another one which I was quite low down for was when we beat Arsenal 3-2 when Yunus Kabul scored.
Oh, okay.
in
Yeah,
the
of
last
course.
bit, but I've got a funny story about that one, which I've told a million times. It's probably boring story. But the story is that I left my phone at home on purpose because I was like, every time I go there, I get texts and calls from Arsenal fans after the game, and I just can't deal with it today. So I was running late to meet my friends there. So I drove to the game. I parked in this car park, so I was running late. And this car park is like someone's driveway, but they let like 5 or 6 cars in. And they were like, they go to me, "Are you going to be back early? Because there's cars behind you. You're blocking them all in." I was like, yeah, I'll be back early. I'll be back early. So I blocked them all in. After the game, obviously we win. I celebrate for ages inside the stadium. And I walk back to the car and I have no idea where I've parked. So I'm walking around for ages. Half an hour goes, an hour goes. I finally get back to the car. Outside the car, outside of every car in this car park is everyone wearing Arsenal shirts. And they're all really annoyed. They're looking at me and I'm coming back in my Spurs shirt. And so I look at them and I'm like, "Good game, guys." I quickly get in my car and just drive off.
Amazing. And home games in White Hart Lane or the Tottenham Stadium?
The Tottenham Stadium, probably Arsenal 3-0, isn't it?
Yeah, I think atmosphere-wise, that was an incredible day, especially in terms of outside the stadium. We had the flares with the Arsenal fans outside. It hasn't really been like that apart from that game, apart from maybe the early rounds of the round of the Champions League on the way to the final. We had the Man City game, which we won 1-0. Ajax as well. The atmosphere was amazing. So the new ground, those were probably some of my favourites. I think at the old White Hart Lane, obviously, the last game White Hart Lane was special, but I think one was sticks in my mind for sure. As I remember being there when we beat Arsenal 2-1 on the way to getting top 4 for the first time, when Danny Rose scored that volley from 30 yards.
Yeah,
and that was like the first
On his
time,
debut.
On his debut, exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we had beaten Arsenal in probably like 10 years or something. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the rain was absolutely rocking that day. And I think Bale scored the second. And I remember Sol Campbell was also making a return to White Hart Lane after he just re-signed for Arsenal. So it was a proper cauldron of atmosphere on that day. That was
Can you
incredible.
please address him in his right name, please?
Judas.
Yeah, I've got so many at White Hart Lane. Like when we beat Chelsea 2-1, when Aaron Lennon and Michael Dawson scored, the first time we'd beaten them in 30 years or something.
Like 28 years.
Crazy. Like after the game in the train station, someone he was about, I must have been about 18 or something at the time, or maybe a bit younger. Someone who was about in their 30s or 40s dropped down to their knees in the train station, tears coming down his eyes, saying, "I haven't seen us beat Chelsea since I was 8 years old." And the atmosphere, literally, I could feel the stadium shake that day. That's how crazy the atmosphere was. And European nights were always special in that stadium. I remember Inter Milan when Gareth Bale absolutely skimmed Maicon down that side. Taxi for Maicon. I remember one where we played Sevilla at home. We ended up going out that year to Sevilla, but the atmosphere was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Right?
Yeah,
It was, yeah. I think Freddie Canute knocked us out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, sounds familiar. Sounds painfully familiar.
All our stories end with us getting knocked down.
yeah. Before we finish, just a few questions. Favorite player of all time?
I'm gonna go for David Ginola.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I love Ginola.
because that's who really resonated with me when I was growing up. I mean, I've got players probably now in more later teams that I probably prefer a bit more.
Yeah.
But whenever I get asked that question, I always say David Ginola because he was just my idol growing up.
Yeah.
Like when he was at us, winning double Player of the Year in a Man United treble-winning season where we nearly got relegated. Like that just shows you the class of the man.
Yeah.
For me, Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane was my favorite player growing up, 100%, and he stuck with me. He was such a smart player. He always used to find little ways to get ahead of the opponent using his brain, because he wasn't the quickest or the strongest or anything, but he had a really big brain, and he always had a little clever thing up his sleeve to get past the opponent. And I really appreciate that. I thought it was a great goal as well. I loved his iconic celebration. Be in the garden all the time. So yeah, Robbie Keane was mine.
It's the second favorite player of mine. He also coached in Israel until a few months ago. Yeah, with the won the league. Yeah, with Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Do you think he's going to be like a good coach in the future? Like, is this your team, Maccabi Tel Aviv?
My team, yeah.
Your team.
Yeah, he was a good coach. I'm not sure if he's has all the best qualities to be a very top coach. And
because obviously Maccabi Tel Aviv would have been favourites anyway, right, to win the league.
yeah.
So it was good, but he didn't do anything special.
No,
he got beaten.
His football. He played very good football. There was coaches here in Israel that came from Championship or even Premier League, and they weren't very good. So he was a very, very good coach.
There was one thing as well in Europe. You won 4-1 away.
Yeah,
Against.
Yeah, against the Olympiacos. And then lost 6-1.
Everyone
But
was saying he can take the man out of
Yeah.
Spurs, but he can't take
But in a way, I know you end up going out in a bad way, but I think Olympiacos end up getting to the final. So
I think they won it
they
also.
won it. They
I
won
think
it.
so.
The conference.
Yeah, the conference.
they
Yeah.
won it.
So to beat them 4-1 away,
Yeah.
impressive. Even though they
And
lost 6-1.
it was also away game was away and home game was away because it was
Yeah.
during the war.
Poland or something. Was it Poland?
Hungary, I think,
Oh, Hungary.
or Serbia. Not sure. They changed every time the home pitch. Anything else, boss, before we finish?
Aren't you gonna ask me my favorite player?
I know.
It's Jermaine
Romero.
Romero, yeah.
So whenever we were
Jermaine
playing
Defoe.
in the garden, I was always Jermaine Defoe and he was always Robbie Keane. Jermaine Defoe was my favorite from that era.
So in the first match I've ever been to, it was Spurs Birmingham at home, the White Hart Lane, 2005. And
Defoe
Keane,
scored from like 30 yards or something.
so Keane scored the first one on a penalty, and Defoe scored the second one like
Later
top
on.
in.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was
later.
like the second game of the season or something, really early on in the season.
Oh, it was like Christmas time.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was Boxing Day.
Yeah, Boxing Day.
But yeah, so that was the first real Spurs experience that my father took me to. So obviously Defoe, I mean also Keane, of course, but Defoe just being so small and as a striker in the Premier League, that's so unconventional. Like, the power he had on his feet, that was just
Absolutely.
yes.
Explosive.
yes. So, yeah, that's
If only he could stay on side.
Yeah, always offside.
yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll finish here and we just go watch the game. Hopefully it will be a good game.
3 points today, Pete.
Yeah.
3 points.
So thank you very much.
For having us.
Thank you.
Spurs.